How are y'all doing? Nice to see y'all. Today's topic is when should I file my immigration case? Now, folks, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, here to solve your immigration problem and maybe even prevent it from happening in the first place. Folks, today this topic is brought up today because there is a proposed rule by Department of Homeland Security. Apologies to folks on Instagram. I seem to have a little bit poor connection for some reason. But here on Facebook and YouTube, greencardguys.tv, if you want to see my screen share, but I'm going to share with you what they're talking about increasing these fees. It's very unfortunate that they're doing this, but it's a reality. So we have to prepare for that. And USCIS fee increase. Let me find this information for you. Alrighty. And let me share my screen. I'm gonna have a new way to share information on YouTube and Facebook in the future, by the way. So stay tuned. It's gonna be a lot more streamlined, so it's easier to read everything. But let me increase the font size here so it's easier for y'all to read it. Of course, you can always look back at it later. I'll share a link with y'all. But look, they're increasing the fees more or less. They're blaming the pandemic, match it up to inflation to some extent. Okay. You don't have to read the whole thing, but that's, part of it. Let's see here. They're going to keep the fee waiver for certain cases that currently have it. It says that USCIS generally receives 96% of its funding from its customers, the applicants, in the form of filing fees, not from Congress, not from taxpayers. So, AKA, how USCIS is funded is through you when you apply. Okay, so in that sense, I think it says here, under President Trump, there was a proposal to increase the fees, and then it was stopped by a district court in California. I believe it was district court. There was uproar back then for several reasons, but one of them was because they were going to add a fee for applying for asylum, which, even though it's $10, it just opens the door to increasing the fee for that in the future. So, but when people apply for a work permit based on applying for asylum, that's not free. You have to pay for that part. But applying for asylum in general, I agree. There should not be a cost. So actually, under President Biden, they kept it the same, $0 for asylum application. Okay, so it just makes sense for humanity's purposes for seeking asylum. Okay. But I do think if someone wants to have an expedited interview for the purpose of, because of backlog, I do think there should be something. I mean, I don't think anyone should have to pay more in general to get their asylum application seen sooner. I think that'd be messed up, but we sue the government anyway right now. So you have to pay a court filing fee. So I think they should have premium processing for other applications, asylum, family-based applications, but currently it's only for mostly employment type, investor type applications. Okay, so why the heck am I even sharing this with you? There's a proposed rule that I want to share that with you. This is what I call the Federal Register. This is probably something that you've never seen before. This is basically where government agencies propose rules that eventually become a final rule. So when it becomes a final rule, it's a law. It's ingrained in law now. Okay, so it's similar to how DACA had gone through this. TPS. Anytime they add another country, it goes through this. There's 45 applicants. 45 comments here. But before I get to the comments, okay, you can put anonymous, you could submit your own, you can basically complain or, be a proponent of this. So I imagine if a you're an applicant, you don't want the fees to increase. But here's the deal, folks, is that you are likely eligible, most likely, because we receive a lot of calls where you share your story, your situation, and it might not be the perfect pathway that you've been looking for. Perfect meaning you prefer to stay in America if you currently are in America and not leave. But legally, you might not have that possibilities to stay in America to get your residency or any other non-immigrant visa. And you really, if you do, so whether you like the option or not, you really should take advantage of it now, sooner than later. There's no black and white rule in terms of necessarily when a like after this final rule happens. The comment period is for 60 days, and this started January 4th. So I believe that should end. It says here March 6th. The comment period is going to close. So there's no black and white time period when they're going to make it in effect, because the agency needs some time to review the comments. I'm actually surprised. There's only 45 comments so far. I was expecting like thousands. It shows 12,000 page views here. So let's see here. Let me share my screen again. And some of y'all, it's not always a typical like case that people don't really want to talk about. It's not always marriage-based cases, but the proposal for those who are applying through a marriage-based case, let's say whether you're a resident or U.S. citizen. Of course, I have previous videos about this on if the sponsor is a resident, because there's more steps involved, more legal requirements involved in that. But if you are considering to apply based on marriage to a U.S. citizen, that's when you can file here in America. If you as a beneficiary are in America now, okay. And the thing is, if you have the opportunity to file for adjustment of status here in America, the typical fee for the petition and the 485, so petitions I-130 and 485 application, among other forms, among other benefits like advanced parole and work permit, they waived the 765 and the 131 form fee. They waived it. They currently have that way, but the proposal is to include those fees. So if I get my other calculator here, my old phone, if I get my calculator here, let's do the math real quick together, okay? Let me share my screen and increase the font if I can. Okay, there we go. So let me highlight here the proposal. Let's see here. Okay, 820 is a new petition. 1540 is a new 45. Okay. Good morning, Anu, by the way. So 820 plus 1540 plus a 765, that's 650. Okay. So here at the end of the day, you need to file sooner than later, okay? And the advanced parole 131 form is $630. Woo! So you may potentially have to pay $3,640. So whether you hire a lawyer or not, you need to get your act together, okay, folks? Do not wait to file, whether you hire a lawyer or not. That's $3,640. That is the proposal right now. You need to get going. Don't wait, because we do have what's it called? The timing of this happening could be soon. Okay, at the earliest, I would imagine, March 6th is when the comment period closes. So in that sense, it could happen really soon after that. Okay, we do have some clients. That's what I'm trying to say. We do have some clients that a bit slower than they need to be. Okay, For some people, we do have the 3 membership plans. The max plan, we commit to filing pledge. We pledge like a Boy Scout, or I guess Girl Scout too, that we will file your case in a certain time period. So max plan, the best plan is file your case in 30 days for family-based. If it's employee-based, we have 45 days just in case, because that tends to require more documentation, more evidence. And the pro plan is 60 days. You do have the option to pay for a little more to have it sooner filed sooner. Now, the thing is, now this is not to say like you should rush to do things. Of course, we have a consultation. We have a preliminary meeting to verify you're eligible. So you should do that with your attorney of choice. We would be honored if you select us to help you, to guide you from start to finish. But light plan, going back to that is typically 90 days to file your case. So 90 days, among other things, you have less services for that. That's a lower fee, but that's just attorney's fees. Okay. Let's see here. What else to share with y'all? Jen, I believe, you asked, when are the fees expected to increase? Yeah, the comment period ends March 6th. Let's see. Let me go above here. Let me time effective date. Maybe it might tell us. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last proposal I see here is in 2020 when President Trump was in office. Yeah, it does not say so far, actually. But typically they make it effective. If anything, I think the latest could be September 1st, 2023, because if I have it correct, I think that's when the fiscal year changes. Okay. Kind of like tax, depending how you file your taxes as a business. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't see it here, but let's see. Hopefully that gives you an idea, okay? In terms of fees and why you should get going, okay? Because most of y'all are eligible for something. Fortunately, anytime someone's not eligible, we like to be as clear as day to tell you, don't waste your money. Not on an attorney, not on anything else, okay? Hey, what's up, Marlon? Nice to see you. Anu, good morning to you. Hipster, have you had any cases relating to child trafficking and then facing deportation due to lack of documentation? No, I guess. In that scenario, you would need definitely a criminal defense attorney on the federal level to help that person. But we help on the other side. Like if someone was a victim of trafficking, we call that T visa, but not when someone is facing removal proceedings for immigration, for deportation. Yeah, whoever's that is for, that person needs a criminal defense lawyer on a federal level first. That's very, very important. Wish y'all the best on that. Marlon, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining often. Same thing to Anu. Thank you so much. Just wanted to give you all a shout out. So I was trying to see here on my screen. Yeah, if they said anything about effective date, but so far, yeah, because that's typically. Oh, okay. Well, I see here. Am I sharing my screen? Let me add it in. It's a bit small. Let me increase it. On page 560, I had to do control find. That'll be a little faster. On page 560, it says, accordingly, absent exceptional circumstances, this proposed rule, if enacted as a final rule, which most likely it will, would be effective at least 60 days after the date on which Congress receives a report submitted by DHS. So then the question is, when will Congress receive a report submitted by DHS? It has a law here. Let me open that up to see what it says. Uh-huh. Okay, now, okay, I don't think we'll find it here, but yeah, more or less, looks like they have to give the report pretty much soon after. It looks like maybe 60 days. I'm reading here. No problem, hipster. Happy to help if I can. Which, if you need referrals for a federal, maybe it's not for you, but for someone, I'm assuming for someone else in there in Texas. I know someone over here in Texas that does that kind of work, criminal defense on a federal level. I know of. Let's see here. Okay. So I don't want to waste y'all time on some of these comments, but if you have a similar sentiment, you might want to submit something. And some of these comments might not be applicable to the um, fee proposal, because this is not necessarily for reform purposes, which some people might write about. Now, here's the deal: like employment for H-1B, there's a huge concern. Let me give you some backstory real quick. Is that they changed the lottery process. I still consider a lottery process, but now they call it a registration process. Before, the last couple of years, you had to prepare your entire package, all the evidence, all the forms, everything. So for me, I think the employers had to pay attorneys, law firms, all this money to prepare it, and then you submit the package first week of April, basically like the day before April 1st, and make sure it gets into USCIS on that first week. That, I think that's just like a bad recipe. Okay. But I thought it created a disaster because, number one, on employer side, your candidate might not get selected because it's a lottery. There's a max. All right, there's limited visas for H-1B. I think it's ridiculous that it's a low amount, a low number of H-1B visas, but they changed it to where it's $10. Okay, the first fee, not for the whole thing. It's $10 currently for the H-1B registration fee, and that's in March, so it's 1 month earlier. But if you get selected in that registration, then you have to apply the entire package before the end of June. Okay. If you get selected and you file your package after June, end of June, then that's a problem. Okay. You're out of luck. SOL, unfortunately. But the key thing here is the fee. So there's some theory that more people apply for this H-1B because it's cheaper. It's $10 to register and just say, hey, why not? Let's try it. I don't think that. So anyway, some people think the theory is that because it's lower, more people apply, so that reduces the percentages of someone being selected. I don't think. I mean, it seems to make sense, right? But I think increasing the fee does not really solve that problem. Okay. Badru, good morning to you. You're welcome for the updates. Anyway, I can share updates. We're always all about that. To share the steps, especially. Anyway, this person says, this comment said, it's a great proposal, especially increasing the fee, H-1B registration. It was $10 with so many contractor companies like Infosys. This is not coming from me, so I'm just reading directly from the website. Abusing this low pre-registration fee. These contractor companies submit multiple applications for one candidate. Now, in that sense, I do think that's not appropriate, but in that sense, USCIS may need to consider capping it for that applicant's name. Okay, not having multiple companies apply for one person, because currently that is allowed. Is it a good idea? I don't know. That's up to you to decide. They also said it's ridiculous that this country needs so many great technical labor forces, and the people with low, this might touch some nerves, with low education quality use this low registration fee to abuse the system. My 2 cents on that is that I don't know what Yeah, I do agree that there should be more visas available, H-1B for master cap, exemption, and just H-1B in general. But just just because someone has a bachelor's degree only does not mean that you're not qualified. You're currently qualified, at least on that sense. Some of these comments are interesting. Okay. Oh my. Well, this is a long comment. I'm not going to read all the comments to y'all. Y'all can take a look. I'll share the link later. But yeah, I just want to give you an idea back to adjustment of status filing. And I'll answer some more questions. What did I say? Let me look. If you're applying for oops. I realized that my other phone connected. Well, hopefully y'all can hear me on my regular phone. Okay. So it's 3640. That is the cost, potential cost proposal for adjustment of status compared to currently 1760, which includes the petition and the filing fee. I'm sorry, petition and adjustment of status. Those are the filing fees. Okay, folks. So here on YouTube, if you can see it, 1760. What did I say earlier? 3640, I believe. They're basically doubling it. Okay. So whether you think it's ridiculous or not, but if you're eligible, file. Now that is not. Don't wait. Okay. Let me share my screen. So anyway, back to the H-1B talk. Where did I put it? Currently, it's $10 per registration of one person per company, but they're proposing $215. So it's not entirely too bad, but maybe that will reduce the number of people to sponsor. I don't think it will reduce the number of companies to sponsor people, like that commenter mentioned that I shared earlier, because it still seems low enough that employers willing to take that chance. So yeah, again, I don't think that's going to solve the solution. Maybe not going to speak for the government. I have ideas, but I don't want to give me any good ideas, unless they ask me. I have a lot of great ideas for reform. Let me know in the comments what you think about this whole fee proposal. I think it's ridiculous, but it may be necessary. I don't work for Congress. I don't work for USCIS or DHS, so I don't know what's the inside. I've served on boards before to look at, the numbers, and unfortunately, things cost more and more these days, especially with inflation and everything going on. But yeah, a lot more fees are jumping up here. I didn't write every single application here possible. Imran, I see your question, so I'll get to you soon. But as you can see here, if you're in a situation where you need to file application to remove conditions, so that's a 751 form. Hot tip here is, Lati, to answer your question, yes, we do help with viable cases. I'll get to your question soon. Your other one, we do help with viable cases. But 751, folks, ooh, that is going to be expensive. 680 currently. It's going to jump to 1195. And if you have, I'm sure you research online or going through it right now. So I don't know if it's surprising actually, but when the pandemic first started, actually before the pandemic, I believe the extension, they give you the automatic receipt notice saying extended for 12 months, then it jumped to 18 months auto extension, and then now it's extended to 24 months. Freaking 2 years to process is estimated to process your 751 application. Ridiculous. But do they need more fees, money, because it takes them 2 years, or is it because how many people do they need involved in processing this case to review it? I think their internal system is whack. If you've heard me talk about this before, but it is what it is. The only thing you can do right now to stop this potentially is to submit a comment. Okay, that's why we're talking about it more thoroughly. Get you fired up. Submit a comment. And I don't believe I did see that people can post anonymously. I need to submit my own comment soon. Yeah, exactly. This is another tactic, Jen. You said that trying to slow down applicants by increasing fees is one possible way, which makes sense on the flip side internally if that's what they're saying, because they don't have enough people working the case to process the cases. But they at least be upfront that they're saying they're slow. They actually sent out a memo, I think a month ago, at least by now, that's saying to help increase their speed to scan these files, don't like hole punch it. I know, like, inherently as humans, we want everything secure in the package. You put a rubber band, you put attorneys, we two hole punch it. I stopped two hole punching it because they scan it. So then if you two hole punch it, you're going to put something around it. We don't do those claps anymore. We just stopped because we already knew that what our team does is to reduce the timing of them working on the case. That's how we prepare our clients as well for the interview, for the package itself. Marlon, you asked, dude, does NVCs remain the same? This proposal is for USCIS. So USCIS does not get involved with the NVC fees. That's more for the Department of State. So from what I know, NVC's fees are staying the same. Okay, which I believe is 120 plus 340, something like that. I think it's 445 total if it's just one applicant. If there's multiple applicants, then of course more money. Let's see here. Let me go back up. Sorry if I missed a couple questions here. Lati, I think Lati, you said another question earlier. Do I file viable cases? Yes, I do. Imran, you said I did not hear on your AOS application after submitting your RFE 864. Ooh, May 2022. It's almost a year. Yikes. 7 months at least afterwards from NBC. What should you do? Interesting. I've never checked because 864 is not an application where you would receive a receipt notice, but let me just check anyway. Okay, let me pull up, share my screen on YouTube. By the way, if you are on Instagram and you want to see what I'm sharing on the screen, you're welcome to go to greencardguys.tv. And if you don't mind, folks, if you enjoy the way we share content, smash the hearts on Instagram and gently click on the likes, the thumbs up, please, because somehow it shares our videos to others who may have a similar situation as you. And other way, you can bookmark it and share it directly to that person. Okay, so I am now in the case processing times 864. Well, there's a couple of things to share with you, Imran. The first thing is case processing time does not show anything for 864. I don't think that was your question anyway. But Imran, let me know. It's at the end of the day, it dials back to the date of the receipt notice for the 485. Now, in terms of your specific question, on the USCIS website where it has case status, you can click on case status and type, copy and paste your receipt number for the 485, and it likely will say, and it may have already showed you, reviewing response. So I'm assuming it said reviewing response ever since May 2022. At least for us, our case experience, when we mail in the response to RFE, and typically it's 864 related, fortunately, and not like the marriage evidence. But anyway, like within 1 to 2 weeks, it would update into the USCIS website to say, because we would get emails about it as well. But anyway, it would say that case under review, package received, or something like that. Arif, good morning to you on YouTube. Nice to see you. All right, so folks, if you are eligible for something, whether it's family-based, now I just mentioned, the marriage type case to a U.S. citizen first, because that's easier to go through all the numbers, and that is a common one, but there are other fees that that are increasing. Sorry, I meant to say one more thing about Imran's question. I just have so much to share with y'all. But the other thing to consider is, you know, should you file a lawsuit? It depends. I'm just going full circle on that receipt date on 45. It really depends on your receipt date, starting with that. Okay. Good thing they already received your RFE response. Now it's, how long can it process for? Now, if it's, so I'm assuming you haven't had your interview at all, Imran. If you have, then that's definitely time to file a lawsuit. Okay. Um, but if you haven't had the interview, I mean, I don't know when you, it may be consideration to file a lawsuit too, but I would say at least 14 months, 14, 15 months minimum to wait to file a lawsuit if you have not had an interview for this kind of case that you're talking about, Imran. Let's see here. Lati, you said you're going to do a consultation with us so I can give you the best advice. Yeah, happy to help any way I can. You filed a VAWA case. It was denied because of abandonment. So you need some advice on what to do next because you don't want to send you a removal notice. So they might send you a removal notice. Your USCIS might refer you to removal proceedings, immigration court, EOIR, Executive Office for Immigration Review. But they might not because it's VAWA related. It's been a while since we've seen a case like that, VAWA, that gets referred to removal, but I can't promise that to you. But yeah, Lati, you might want to refile your case. But let's chat. You can chat with one of our premier associate attorneys on our team. Now, folks, that's the default. If you do want the free 15 minutes, which for social media followers, subscribers, we do want to offer that to you. We want to thank you for chiming in, sharing your comments, your questions, and also joining us live for I recognize a lot of your names, so thank you, appreciate it. So I want to offer you that free 15 minutes, but when you schedule, it's not default with me. I'm honored that you want to chat with me, but as you can tell, some of our live shows before, I lose my voice and I don't have that much time in the day. I've got to manage a team and organize and all that kind of stuff and do the legal work, some of the legal work. So the default is with one of our associates, Terry or Ariana. They lead up for the intake for the care side of things, consultations. But I appreciate the hearts on Instagram. Really thank you for that. But yeah, if you do want to speak with me, then we do charge a consultation fee. I think my business manager put it. Personally, I think it's kind of expensive, but again, if I do it too low, then I get booked, too booked, and my kids won't like that, or my spouse. So it is $199 for me. Okay, but again, if you have one of those situations where you have literally like you have a list of questions written down on your computer, then which is great. But if you want more time, let's say like 30 minutes minimum, then I recommend, yes, Lati, 200. If you want to speak with me directly. Now, not sometimes we have consultation. I mean, not consult meetings with our team. We have legal team meetings. We have teams with our cares team as well to understand what are the questions y'all have, so we can get that ready for y'all. Okay, but sometimes I do chime in. Okay, I jump in, but it's not always. Okay, but yeah, if it's for me, you want to just cut to the chase and talk to me directly, it's 200. Yeah, basically $200. So, but we can credit special offer. We can credit that towards your case if you schedule today. Okay, because Lati, don't wait anymore, because I know you've been commenting about your case. So take advantage. Okay, I'll credit that to your case if you do end up hiring us. Let's see if you want to speak with me. Let's see what other questions. Imran, you said you're welcome. Happy to help. You want to fully consult with us on this or with me. Sure, happy to help. Again, if you have a list of questions, that's great. We want you to have the knowledge. That's what these our channel is about. Okay, greencardguys.tv. We want to help you. Okay. Um, because even if you're not eligible, we feel relieved to share that advice to you. Because, I mean, there's very unfortunately some lawyers, not all lawyers, but mostly like the consultants charge money and they say, oh, yeah, you're eligible, or and you might wonder, well, how am I eligible? That's what I train my team to talk about. How are you eligible? Because, yeah, you can do the research on our blogs, but there's a reason why you're contacting us. There's a reason why you're following our channels to make sure you are eligible, because anyone can fill out the forms. That's not the difficult part. What is your name? What's your date of birth? Yeah, of course you could do that yourself. So we understand if you have a lot of questions, but just realistically speaking, it's probably, if you have a lot of questions, just be mindful. We probably won't be able to jam pack it in 15 minutes. Then you need to schedule like a longer consultation, 15 to 30 or 30 minutes. Okay. So you can go to our website. This is how you access it. Go to greencardguys.com. We try to make it easy for you to reach our YouTube channel, greencardguys.tv. But for the actual website, .com, and click on take a quiz to unlock the free 15 minutes. Of course, you can take advantage of the free 15 minutes first, because maybe you're able to answer your questions, because my team is our rock stars, so we try to answer as many questions as possible in that time frame. But just like on this channel, I speak so fast. Sorry, this is so much to share, and I have limited time before I lose my voice. Yeah, appreciate the hearts, so I can at least feel better about that, losing my voice. Uh, Ivan, let's see here. I also feel better if you follow, subscribe, and share our video to your friends and family who have immigration questions. Ivan, you said hello. Nice to see you again, Ivan. You came on a visitor visa, B1, B2. Yes, you're welcome to ask questions. I'll see if I answer it back to Ivan. You overstayed 8 years. Okay, now you have TPS on advanced parole. That's right. I remember that. Yuri, you asked that question before. You can't trick me again, buddy. You had a good joke there last time. Let's see here. Ivan, you said, if you win the DV lottery, will I be able to get a green card? Some folks have asked this question before. There's two main things people ask about, or have a similar question. Even those folks that have applied for asylum, applying for asylum within the 1 year of your legal entry stops unlawful presence. However, even if you're eligible to apply for residency, whether it's lottery, DV lottery, diversity visa lottery, or through employment based, or any other way like family, then it's going to be difficult to be eligible for adjustment of status, because when you go to if you were to have an interview, or even if you don't have an interview, because typically they don't have interviews, only, I wouldn't say only, but when it was President Trump, he did have set up and say he wanted to not waive the interviews for employment cases. Okay, so that created more delays. Of course, he did everything he could to delay everyone. So the key thing here is, sorry, Ivan, I have to go full circle. There's so much to explain. The key issue here is not unlawful presence, ULP. The key issue is failure to maintain status. You can go on, I think you can go on our website, greencardguys.com. I may have a blog entry about this, talking about 245K. If not, I need to look it up and make sure I blog about it, because there's a common question. Of course, everyone's situation is slightly different, but you're verifying, adjustment status. That's what I'm talking about right now. So let's see here. So the thing is, Failure to maintain status, because 245K only allows basically a grace period of 179 days or 180 days and less than that, okay, of unlawful presence. But either way, that does not cure maintaining status. To maintain status, for example, especially during pandemic, this happened a lot. Extending status of your B1, B2 visa. Of course, you're not going to be able to extending for like indefinite, right? But for some people, they've been able to because of maybe medical concerns, whatnot. But that's a rare thing. But if you have changed your status to H1B and then maybe converted that to L1, there's a lot of different ways. O1, P1, if you're an athlete, artist, entertainer. But if you have not done any of that to change status, and maybe because you weren't eligible at the time, nothing wrong with that. It's just the real is it is what it is. Then you would have to. Then the solution for you, Ivan, possibly, we're just chatting here on live, but possibly you have to cancel the process. Okay, but we have to chat about that separately, one-on-one. Okay, or with one of our premier associate attorneys. Jen, your question on Instagram, does the lottery include Mexico? I don't believe so. I think it's kind of similar to what Yuri's asking. Yuri asked, do you think someone wanting a green card is slightly discriminatory to other colors? I think he had a more specific question on that. I don't know how to answer that one, but Jen, does the lottery include Mexico? Let's see if I can find that. Let's find the list for diversity visas. Eligible countries, okay? There is also, some of y'all might know this, but it does not include every country, unfortunately. And now there's a specific website. There's a specific website for that I want to make sure y'all have access to. Let me go to the Department of State website. Back to Ivan real quick while I pull this up. Your question is a common one that many people have. And some of y'all are well-researched. You found some case law. Some of it might be semi-relevant, some not as relevant. We had some people share some stuff that, about, of course, the asylum, for this to happen, possibly, that the asylum application has to be bona fide, that it's legit. Let's just assume it is, but that's not really the issue. The issue is failure to maintain status. Now, if you fail to maintain status, which is, if you have this question, it's all of y'all, basically. That's in this situation, for the most part, everyone we've talked to. But again, it's not your fault. But the thing is, I have so many thoughts. Sorry, I'm trying to recollect. People ask, what is a technical violation? Technical violation is what we have seen in the cases, what we call case law in the past cases, on being your exception, your way. We call it golden ticket. Your golden ticket to stay here to file for adjustment of status and get it approved. Technical violations so far, that what we've found, and some of y'all in the audience have shared with us, is that one of the cases have said technical violation includes when USCIS, for more or less, has said delayed your case being referred to immigration court. Now, you don't necessarily want to hope for that, because you don't want to be in a situation where your case and removal proceedings, for those that do have a case and removal proceedings, there's an option to help you. Maybe not for everyone, unfortunately. But anyways, Yeah, it's not necessarily a technique. According to case law so far, it does not appear that uh, it's not a technical violation if USCIS is just did not schedule for you for an interview for, let's say, for asylum. That does not appear to be a technical violation. Okay, Ivan, and anyone else that's in a similar situation, hopefully that helps you. Mhm. Okay, now, Jen, I'm trying to find a list of countries. I thought I had it for you, but uh, okay, I think I found it. Hmm, that's quite strange. Hmm. Well, if you're new to the channel, folks, welcome. Thanks for joining. Today we talked about when should you file your immigration case. And the reason I phrased it that way is because immigration fees will increase. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be next month, but it probably will be closer to March 6th, maybe April, maybe June, maybe May. So it could be summertime. Okay. So don't be waiting around. Yuri, I'm here to answer legal questions. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm not going to answer jokes right now. That's what people want to hear about immigration. But thank you for tuning in. Let's see here. So, anyways, there's a couple websites here that you can check out. For DV, diversity visa. That'd be great, but I don't know. For some reason, Yuri, this is what I thought you were going to be talking about, but yeah, it's not for every country. It tends to be countries from Africa, the continent in Africa, and also Ireland, or at least in the past, they include Ireland. So I don't know what the history is with those countries in the past, but yeah, mostly for countries in Africa. So anyway, then there's this website, dvprogram.state.gov. We're actually putting together a free guide just for people who are seeking diversity visas. So record a video about that. But yeah, Mexico is still out. Sorry. They should. I would think they need to include more countries. Oh, this is interesting. If you want to see this real quick, diversity visas. Okay, let's go look at 2018. Isn't it interesting? They don't have the numbers, the stats. I think you can see it on YouTube here. Yeah, they don't have the stats for 2019 or 20 because Trump decided to mess it all up with the travel ban. So even if people were selected on online registration, they couldn't actually come in. They couldn't have a freaking interview at the consulate embassy. So it basically wasted their online registration. Now some of y'all on DV have been able to come here, but it just depends on timing. Okay, but yeah, let's look at 2018 anyway. I'm about to start losing my voice. So you can see here, continent of Africa. There's a bunch of countries here. A lot of people from Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt. That's interesting. Some Asian countries. North Korea has one. Who is that lone person right there? Got lucky. Europe. In North America, only the Bahamas. Interesting. South America. Yep, no Mexico, no Canada. Who knows? Maybe that's because y'all have a TN visa. It doesn't necessarily lead to a green card. There is a way to get a green card if you have TN visa. That's basically professionals of people who are nationals of Mexico and Canada. It's not necessarily every single professional type of occupation, but you can go to our website. This is a good time to share this. Okay, at least on YouTube. Okay, you could check it out right there. The free guide on our website, greencardguys.com. We have a free guide that contains common answers to common questions and an estimated step by step. And some of the guides have more or less red flags, what you should watch out for. Okay, so go to greencardguys.com for that. Let's see what to share with you. If you're just joining, thanks, Jen. You're welcome for taking time to search it. Many attorneys wouldn't do it themselves. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to share the info. Appreciate the hearts. 100% speaks volumes on our ethics and case prep. Yeah, I appreciate that, because we want to make sure you're eligible, because if you're not, then what's the point of paying, right? Or all the stress and time. I think it's nonsense, personally. I think that there was a question on, yeah, Arif, you said, if a permanent resident, I'm sorry, this is probably my last question. And if you do have more questions, join live tomorrow or schedule consult. But Arif, for now, if permanent resident is not able to maintain the status, stay in the USA, and is going to USA after a gap of 2 years, what repercussion that person faces at the port of entry? Okay, we have a guide about this. Shoot, you know what? I need to add all my guides on the website, okay, for every problem that people have. We do have one, but it's not on the website right now. Okay, Arif, so you might have to call in or text us about that, which reminds me, on YouTube, I can share it with you. We have a number for USA. We have a number for WhatsApp if you're abroad, okay? It's also in the description box below. But to answer your question as succinct as possible and brief as possible, Arif, is that if that person is not eligible for whatever reason, SB1 visa as a returning resident is what we call it, or government calls it, then, or even if you think you're eligible, you apply and they get denied at the consulate or embassy, I'm sorry to hear that, but you really need to bulk up your evidence to make sure they know the reason why. Now, some people have told us, they call in with this question and have a consultation and say, well, my job required me to be there. The government's going to tell you, who cares? Like, you could have taken another job, right? It's not just one job that's possible. But I think a stronger situation is if the reason why you were outside America for, more than 6 months, because that's when they start the scrutiny. It's more than 6 months total in 1 year. Okay. Now it doesn't have to necessarily be 6 months in a row. But we do have a guy that shares the typical evidence that you could provide. But I would say if it's medical reasons, either for yourself, maybe because of medical care that you need in that specific country, or you're caring for a loved one or significant other in your country outside the U.S., bring that evidence, have it ready. And I would, even if you get denied at the consulate embassy, as lawyers, we can't advise you to say, hey, come to America. But hey, if it was personally me, I get denied at the consulate, but maybe I have the physical card, because we've heard this happen before. I've even told someone, I've checked with my colleagues that, when someone has order removal in absentia, meaning they didn't show up to court because they didn't know, and we found that out while the person was abroad, and we talked to them while they're abroad, and I told them, look, I mean, the law says you can't come in, but realistically, at least in her situation, customs let her in. I thought that was strange. But if you're willing to pay that money for a flight, you might want to take that chance. That's up to you. I'm just sharing the experiences that others have shared with us. That's not my advice specifically, but I'm just saying, what would I do, right? What would John do in the personal capacity, not as a lawyer, okay? So that's just my disclaimer right there. But repercussion, ultimately, to answer your question directly, it could result in a couple different ways. You go through customs, maybe the customs officer doesn't really ask questions about it, doesn't pay attention in the system, or they do pay attention to the system. They see, oh, you haven't been here in a couple of years, madam, so we're gonna have to ask you more questions. Why were you out? And maybe they plan to ask more questions, so that they're gonna ask you or whoever else to go to secondary inspection, okay, to another room. from what I understand, it's not necessarily like a jail cell type situation. It's like another office, but it can be annoying. So if you're in a situation, you need to be ready that it could take a while. Okay. You could be at secondary inspection for a while. And you need to be ready that they will go through your phone. Okay. So you have personal things on there. You might, and let's say you have it synced up to Google Drive or iCloud. You might want to unsync it from your phone. Okay. Just my 2 cents. Not to say you're trying to hide anything like, I don't know. I don't know what you want to call it, confidential or shaky information. Not saying you're trying to lie or anything, but it's like the latest companies when Trump did the travel ban. There's a lot of concern about people seeing people's information on the phone, especially if it's a work phone. You know the heck, you don't know. We don't know what the heck with customs officers, but well, I guess my internet's been a little shaky at the moment. So, anyways, there's a great time. Arif, I could go in more detail, but contact us if you have any questions. Okay, folks. All right. Until next time, we'll see you tomorrow. Take it easy. Bye bye.